Testing 1, 2, 3, 4.
All right, ladies and gentlemen. Oh, do I have sound now? I don't know what the heck that was. There we go. I have no idea. It just automatically kicked in. I didn't really touch anything. All right, let's not do anything. Let's hope that my camera works though. All right, sorry about that. I was saying that welcome class. I'm Gel Tip. I am your professor, your teacher, your tutor into the wonderful world of miniature painting. Today is class 4. It's the final class of the maybe it might be a Streamlabs update, but we're gonna do some fixing of a miniature. In case you think you goofed, or if you feel like the miniature isn't what you want it to be, I'll show you how to fix it without stripping it or redoing the whole thing. We'll also do a little bit of eye work and also some gemstone. I'll show you how to do a couple gemstones and some other designs, simple designs on large blank areas in case you want to personalize and really customize your miniature to make it unique. And today is the final class of the series. There's not much more. You've got all the basic skills, so let's just paint and start on some basic fixing and detailing. So let's see, that is frozen. So give me 1 sec while I adjust the camera. I have no idea what's going on. Twitch doesn't like me today. So we'll just edit all of this out of the whoops. All right, let's see. Why is that doing that now? All right, let's see. Let's go here. And let's go back here. There we go. Ooh. And now we'll try to see if all my settings stuck. It doesn't look like they stuck. They all reset on me. So we'll just fix it. I remember what I set them at because I played with it so much. I know what you're thinking. Stop. All right, let's see. So this goes here. This goes to there. And then this goes to right there. Apply. Okay. There we go. And we'll turn on some light. Done. Okay. I think we're all set. So, I think the first thing I want to do is go back to this miniature right here. And let's say that this looks a little too gray for me. I don't like these dark lines in it or these dark colors. It's not the white that I was looking for. So what we can do is we can actually just go and get a lighter gray. Remember, we mixed the gray here. We mixed it with a black and a white. We didn't actually have a gray. So we can just make it as bright of a gray as we want. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to take some bright neutral gray. There's a Citadel color called Altwin Gray, which is really, really bright. It looks almost white. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to add a little bit of white to this so I can get it to be just a little bit more white. We don't want to paint white because white should be our final color. So I'll just show you. I'm going to throw some bright gray in there. And then I'm going to take some white and get my mixing brush. Remember, we did all this. This is class 2. We learned how to mix and block colors. So I'm just going to get some white in there. And then I'm just going to take some of this white right here and just add it into this gray until I get it to a color that I'm looking for. Doesn't look like it's changing at all. I might need more white. Get some of this one. Maybe that was too thin. So how's everybody doing today? Hopefully everybody's painting along. And if you're not painting along, then I hope that you've done some kind of painting to keep your skills up. Remember, we learned how to dry brush the first week, base color or color blocking the second week, and then we also did a lot of washing and shading. Learned how to glaze a shade and wash a shade in and edge highlight. All right, so this is what I'm looking for. So I don't know if it's actually showing up. But this looks a little bit darker than what I started with. Or excuse me, a little bit lighter than what I started with. So there's some dark gray there, and then this is a little bit lighter. The light might kind of throw it out, wash it out. And so I'm just going to take a nice large brush. I don't want that brush. Where's my large brush? Where's my large brush? There we go. All right, and then I'm just going to paint this really bright gray all along here. And eventually it will cover up those dark spots. You may need to do it a couple times. But this is one way that you can do it. I can paint right over what I've done. Let me get rid of this guy so that you can actually see what I'm doing. I know all of these settings just got me all messed up today. Plus, I haven't been on for a week, so I've been out and about. So see, you can see how dark this is. Well, maybe you can't because of the light, but I'm just going to kind of just go over this with this nice bright gray, covering up all that dark stuff. And if I wanted to paint this red, then I could paint it red, I could paint it blue. So I was trying to do some work on these guys when I could. I put all the blue trim on, I put the blonde. I think we did the blonde hair last time we were here. But I think I painted the blue off stream because I want. Remember that these classes are just all technique stuff. I'm not actually trying to finish a model. I mean, I will finish these at some point, but I'm just trying to show you guys technique work, what you can do so that you can finish your own models. All right, here we go. So I thought this was too gray. It wasn't the white that I was looking for, and you could see that bright gray is really making it look kind of white. and I can go from there. Maybe washing wasn't the best idea. Maybe I have to actually just kind of highlight white on top of this and not worry about washing black. So you can make mistakes, and we just need to learn how to fix them, and that's part of today's lesson, is learning how to fix them. And once you fix it, you're able to redo everything we did in the past 3 weeks. And then I'll show you how you can personalize your own miniatures so that you can give them some unique characteristics. I'm not going to show you everything, but you know, people put tattoos on, people put scars, people will put like a 5 o'clock shadow on their chins. They do all kinds of things to personalize their miniatures. So there we go. We've got that base color on, and you may or may not need to do a second coat. We'll just do a second coat just to make sure that I can fix everything here. Because it was just a little too dark for me. That's what it was. Maybe it was too dark for you. Maybe you didn't like something you were doing white. And it's hard to tell how to fix the model because it depends on what you want to fix on it. This, I wanted to make it more white so I can just start repainting all this gray on it. But if I painted it red, then there might need to be some other way of fixing if I want to make it white. So there's that. And we're going to just leave that there. So we're going to let that guy dry, but that's the light gray. Now, the trick to white is I'll always paint the brightest gray. I'll always start highlighting white. And if I need to, I can always shade down. So remember last week we talked about when to use a wash or when to shade. We can do it before or we can do it after we highlight, depending on how we want to get the blends of the highlight. Okay, so there's that. I'm looking for a mini. Here it is. All right, so let's see. Can I pull him off? No. Oh, wait. Yes, I can. Will you go in there? You will not go in there. Okay. All right. So let's, oops, we just lost our zombie. I'll have to pick him up after. All right. Here's a skeleton that we dry brushed during the first week. Maybe it's just too sandy for me. Maybe there's things I want to do on it. Maybe I forgot to get rid of this mold line and I want to shave that off. Or so you scrape it and then you have to scrape all the paint. So one way we can do this is we can paint the whole thing. Remember, we started with a dark brown. We started with a dark brown and then we dry brushed and we kept dry brushing up and up and up. So maybe instead of doing that, because this looks a little too dark for me and a little too dirty, maybe I want to actually paint all of it the bone color. And then last week I showed you how to wash with a brown wash. So maybe that's what I want to do. And so in this case, what I would do is just repaint all of this bone and then we can wash it. So I'll get a bone color. I do have bone color. I used to have a bone color. I have just not had a fantastic day as far as holding stuff. That one's brand new. We don't want to open it. I've got tons of these because I'm an undead guy. Let's see. This one looks good. So I'll just put this on my wet palette. And I'm not going to mix it or anything. I'm just going to paint it on. So it's sort of like repainting is your eraser. If you're into doing sketch art, you have an eraser to undo stuff. Repainting is doing that. If you have an undo button for digital art, you can undo stuff. So I'm just going to repaint all of this a bone color. And I'm going to try to keep the paint thin enough because I've already added some texture to it when I dry brushed. So you want to keep the thin paint enough to keep all that detail, but maybe it just was too chalky or too stony for me, so I want to just kind of smooth everything out. So that's what we'll do. We'll just kind of paint him down. Again, today we're just fixing things. You're going to notice that a lot of the techniques or a lot of the stuff that I do, we've done from the other classes. Remember, this is all from week 1. Just painting the whole thing down. Using thin colors if we can. That was from week 2. You want to use as thin as you can. More thin coats. If you try to do one big thick coat, you may end up covering up a lot of that detail. And it's hard to come back from thick layers of paint. So if you can thin it out and still get the coverage, then that's what we want to do. So see, I'm just kind of erasing everything that I just did. And I haven't put them in, you know, like I haven't broken them apart. I haven't put them in the stripping. We haven't even talked about stripping models as far as the paint goes, but you can technically get, if you have a metal miniature, you can get like some like cleanser, like Pine Sol or Lest Oil, and you can soak metal miniatures, and the paint just kind of scrubs off. I think for alcohol, isopropyl is what you use for plastic miniatures. Plastic miniatures is tough because it's plastic based and it will melt if you leave it in. A lot of people used acetone, so if you leave it in acetone, it melts and you lose all that detail. But everybody's had success with isopropyl, so that's what I would suggest if you're gonna strip out your model, scrub it clean and restart. But here we're just trying not to do that. We're beginners here. So I want to know how to do it as a beginner. What if I don't have that stuff that you're talking about? How can I fix it without that stuff? And one of the things is go back to your base color that you did, and there you go. I've just restarted this model by just repainting over him. And he'll be a little bit brighter. He'll have a little bit more, you know, the bone color on him won't be so stone looking. And then I'll wait for him to dry, and we'll go ahead and we'll wash him like we did on last week. And I think we also did a little bit of washing on the first week. So that's what we'll do there. Okay. Anybody have any questions? So I'm going to wait for those to dry. And the thing I'm going to do is I'm going to bring this guy out. And I'm going to paint his face, but in order to paint his face, he has a very small area for his face. So I'm going to want to get a better brush. See, I was using this brush. Now I want to use something that has a little bit more of a tip to it and a little smaller. So I'm just going to take this brush, and I don't think I need my eyes, my magnifiers yet. I just soften down the tip. So the reason I'm doing this is because we're going to do eyes momentarily. So I just want to make sure I have a good palette to do eyes. So I just put a little bit of flesh there. So, and we'll do some eyes on this guy. And so I'll just kind of block in some face coloring here. Just so you can see where the eyes will go. See if that shows up. Come on, you can do it. Oh, that's right, I have autofocus off. So hopefully you can see that. You can see where I'm going to put his eyes. Well, I'll get as close up when we start doing that. So there's two miniatures with eyes. We got this guy here. Let's see if we can get some eyes on him. Let's see, what else can we fix? Those are the only two things I really had that I wanted to show you how to fix them. Everything else is more basic details. So here we go. This is a good one. Remember how I said you have to dry brush everything? Well, if you look in here, his belt is metal here. So one thing you can do is just go back and paint it black, because that's we started with a black to get the dry brush in. So I'll go back to the black. And then I'll just paint that belt solid again instead of metal. We don't want that metal. Whoops. Let's see, there we go. So we don't want this metal. And we don't want this metal. So we can go back and we can just paint over the black, because we started with black. If we started with something else, you would go back to that color. Maybe you like this black, or silver rather, you might want to keep it, who knows. But for me, black is a nice erasing tool. You can do a lot with the black paint, so I'll just paint all this black. And then I can go in with colors that I want to use. So after you dry brush, because remember, dry brushing is a chaotic highlight. You can control it as best you can, but you should go back and clean up after the dry brush, just so you can get the other colors on. So that's what I'm doing here. I'm just painting all of these black, just to kind of clean up. And then what it does too is it'll make that dry brush really pop. It won't look like everything has been dry brushed on him. Just get that in there. Looks like I got a little bit of brown on this, so I'll just go back over it with the black. And see, now we get that little black back thing, not silver, and it's really focusing on where the chainmail is. So we have a little black, or we have a little silver on this part of the belt, so I'm gonna have to go in there and try to separate that out. It's a very small area. Since I'm using a very large brush with a small tip, I have to be super slow and make sure I don't hit anything I'm not supposed to. There we go. So that's another way of fixing stuff. If you dry brush, go back over and just repaint those areas that you're looking to repaint, or do a different way so that the dry brush isn't sprayed over. It's the same thing with an airbrush. If you airbrush something and you get that overspray, you're going to have to go in and you're going to have to touch it up before you continue. So dry brushing is sort of the same way. And then I have some dry brush here on this metal thing. I may or may not want to fix that because I could paint that metal. So you have to kind of think about what you want to fix, or, well, you probably already have. You probably already know what's wrong with it. Okay. All right, I have one more thing, and that is this. Perhaps I wasn't happy with the way the flesh was on here. Maybe I want it to be a different color. So one way I could do it is to paint over it like the skeleton. Maybe I don't like all this green stuff I put in here. I like what I've done with the club, but I'm not liking this. So what I can do is just go back and repaint it. Now I could repaint it black and then use a color on it. So, or I can just repaint it and see where it goes from there. So what I'm going to do is, I just thought about it now. I don't know if it's going to work, but we're going to get rid of this dwarf guy. Let him sit over there and hang out. We'll get him back on here. And like I said, repainting over it is sort of an eraser. And so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to get rid of everything here. I'm going to start with a black base. So the thing I'm going to do is just paint them black all over again. I'm not going to strip them. If I can use a thin layer of black, black covers pretty much everything. I'll get my shadows again. So that's what we're going to do. So I'm just going to get my large brush, thin this out just a little bit, and just repaint over him. I'm not going to worry about what color, because I have different colors on him, and I don't want the new colors to kind of mix in. So I'm just going to do everything black and then restart. See, I don't know if you can see, but you see how that color's kind of bleeding through this black? That's not what I want to happen on the new color. So I'm just going to do all of this black, and because it's thin, it's going to be, that pink is going to bleed through, so you may need to do another coat of black, but I want to keep it thin because I don't want to lose any detail on the model that some paint may already be covering. I'm not a very good stripper of paint on plastic models, so I have to learn how to do this. This one here is a metal one, so I can just dunk him in a stripping solution and not have to worry about the metal being eaten away, unless I'm using something that eats metal. But when it comes to a plastic miniature, there is that chance that it can melt if you're not using the right thing. So instead of worrying about having a thing melt, I just use a thin coat of paint to erase anything that I might have done. So all I'm doing is using the black here. Eventually, 2 coats should get rid of all that red, and it shouldn't bleed through. Why am I not? You're blowing up balloons? Nice. Is it a party? Are you having a party? And try not to get any on the bone. I think I may have done something in my haste to paint over this. But see, it's a whole new miniature now. It's like I can restart my thinking process. Now, you can only do this every so often. I wouldn't say keep repainting over the same model. If you're doing thin coats, I would say you could do it once. So you should test out what you want to do on a mini that you don't care about, or on, and I don't want to say on paper, because paper doesn't have the same reactions that you'll get with a three-dimensional model. And I don't want to put you guys in bad habits. It's not why you're here. You're here to learn. So, but you can do it. So on the Archer, I just repainted the gray to start over. But over here, I don't want that pink. So now I have this black. And when he dries, I should be able to get a brand new color on here without worrying about that pink coming through. So we're going to let him dry as well. And I know we started late and I'm just kind of rushing through this, but these are some ways that you can fix your minis. I think this guy is dry enough to show you that I'm going to use a wash on this. So this is an earth shade. This is a brown wash. And I'm just going to dip it in and just wash him down. And notice that that dark wash now really reacts with that ivory, that light color. Really shades it down. I could do this with a brown, thinned out brown paint if I wanted to. But now, if I go to highlight it, I can dry brush it after it's dry. Don't do it now. Wait till your wash is dry. You can go back and dry brush it with white. You can go back and dry brush it with the same ivory color that you used, or you can lighten down the ivory color if you don't want white and you don't want the same color. Then you can always add white to your ivory color to get brighter. So it doesn't look much different than what we started with, except that now the bone is not a stone bone. It doesn't look stony. It kind of looks like it's a smooth skull, and all this is just shaded in. And so we can leave that to dry. So there, we fixed that miniature, and I didn't take a picture of this guy beforehand, but I do have a picture in my Discord, !Discord, and if you go down to the university, and find the dry brushing channel, you can see what he looked like before we erased what we did and redid him. So that's what he looks like. So when this all dries, and remember last week we said just be careful of the pooling. Just make sure you're not getting a lot of pooling in areas that you don't want. But we can go back and we can dry brush him, or we can edge highlight. I can go and paint all the ribs on him. I can paint the face. Depends on how you want to do that. Okay. So going back to last week, we were talking about edge highlights. So I'm going to take a white. Ooh, that's not my white. That's something else entirely different. Is this my white? No. Where's my white? Ah, here it is. So I can take a white, and I'm going to take a lining brush. Remember last week we were using a lining brush. I just had to find out where my lining brush is. I have it. Come on. There we go. I think this is our lining brush. Nope, that's not it. All right, we'll just use this. This looks like a good lining brush. So I'm just going to use and take this white. And remember, when we line, we always come at us. And I don't know if you can see it on here, but the white is already there for me to follow. So I'll just kind of do this. Now I could do a lighter gray first and then do this, but I'll just kind of. So I'm just going back over where I did the white before. Just edge highlighting. And see how the white really brightens it up. And if I could do a lighter gray on there, and it will make it look a little bit more whiter. So I could take some of my gray color that I used before, mix in a little bit of white, and I can create a little secondary shadow right next to that white. Something that looks like that. So it's not really white, but it gives the appearance that it's white, and then it gives the appearance that the white that I just hardlined or edge highlighted, I should say, is the brightest spot on the tunic. So you'll see it back here a little bit more. So if I use this gray and I mix in a little bit of white to get a brighter gray, and I just go over the folds again. I'm having a hard time getting over the folds with this base, but so I'm just using fat lines with this lighter gray, because I know it's not my final highlight. My final highlight is not going to be this bright gray. My final highlight I want to be white, because that's what's going to make this look white. So there's my brighter gray, and then I will take my white, and I will do my little edge highlight trick from last week. Like so. Get some of this top here. And I can keep doing this. I can keep doing the white over and over until I get the white I'm looking for. But notice that we don't have those dark recesses anymore. So, and that's kind of what we want. And I can keep working the white up just by taking white and redoing whatever I just did, and it brightens it up even more. But remember, if you're going to wash your white, make sure you're using a separate tub. You don't want to contaminate the color of the white. And then the same thing, I can do it up here with these folds in the sleeve. Right there. Right there. This is all from last week. This is just edge highlighting. I'm not doing anything that you haven't already seen. All I'm doing is fixing the way I want this model to look. I wasn't happy with the gray, so I changed it. I wasn't happy with the bone, but there we go. That's what we have. And then I can actually highlight that back. I wasn't happy with the pink flesh, so I've erased it out of existence. And that is, my friends, how you fix a model or a mini that you think you goofed. You can either paint it black, which is right there, or you can paint over what you started with and redo your color scheme. Okay. That is fixing a model, fixing a mini. Oh, and we also did this. We also painted all the stuff that we dry brushed silver by accident. We made sure we went and fixed all that up before we started to paint. Okay. Does anybody have any questions? Feel free to use the highlight command. I think all of the point redeems outside the highlight command is active. So you can highlight your message. You can do add gel tip. I think I've left all the other commands open, such as the exclamation point Discord, that you can get. You can join my Discord, and then there's a lot of stuff with the classes there. I've got some videos, and Talon has been giving me videos as well that I've been posting up there for tips and tricks. Okay, so the next thing I want to do is go over eyes. But to do this, I'm going to move things out of my way. And I'm going to grab paper and used to have a pen. Okay, so there's several ways to do eyes. Eyes seems to be one of the main things that even the best people have an issue with. And that's not to say you shouldn't try them. That's not to say that eyes are, should only be done by professionals or really experienced people. It's really, you have to find your own niche or your own way of doing eyes. So there's 3 ways to do eyes. The first way is, do you have to do eyes? If the area is too small, then chances are you may just not want to do it. Just let it be a representation. But if you are going to do eyes, then there's 2 ways that there's 2 ways that I'll do it. So let's say that this is your eye socket. What I'll do is I will color all this in with a dark color or a black right here. And I'm doing this because all right, we'll just do this. So I fill in the whole eye socket with a black. And then what I'll do is I'll put a white dot on each side. So one over here and one over here. So basically, when you're done with your eye socket, you'll have a white dot here. Here's your eye socket, and you'll have a white dot here. And then you just kind of have to go back with the black and round that out. So it'll eventually look like this on your eye socket. You'll have your black, and then there'll be this like spot of white here, and you're going to leave this black. So I'll show you in practice. It's hard to draw it out that way, but I paint 2 white dots here and there after I paint the whole thing dark, and leave this color right in there. Usually it's black. You can go in and put blue. You can go in and put other colors in there if it's big enough. Remember, if it's too small, don't do it. But if you want to try it, I usually do a white dot here and a white dot here. The other way you can do it is if you have your eye, then a lot of people will have they'll do this all black right in here, and they'll do this all black in here, and then they'll paint a white line right here. So they'll paint a white line, and then they'll go back in with a different color. They'll either do black or they can do blue, and they'll put in a little circle here. The problem here is that you have to dot it in such a way that you're not going to paint up here or down here on the face. So, but both are valid. So here I'm painting 2 white dots and cleaning up the black if I need to. Here I'm painting 1 black dot after I get a line of white. This is the problem, is this line of white. This is what you're going to find. So it takes practice. I'm not going to lie to you. It takes practice, but keep doing it. And eventually you're going to find a style that works for you. There's all kinds of ways of doing eyes, but for beginning people, this is what I do. I either tell them to do 2 white dots, or do a white line with a black dot, or don't do them. So this guy here, I may not do the eyes if it doesn't warrant it. We're going to try it. I'm not going to not do it, but he doesn't necessarily need his eyes done. This guy here has a hat. Maybe I don't need to do his eyes. We'll give it a shot. See what we can do. So that's how it's going to work. So either I'm going to do the 2 white dots. I'm going to do both of them so you can figure out which way you like. But I'm going to do the 2 white dots with the cleanup, or I'll do the white line with the black dot or blue dot. We'll see how it goes. Okay. I can't promise that eyes are going to be the best thing in the world, but to help me out with this, okay, so to help me out with this, here is a large brush. Here's what I was using to paint with. So I'm going to go with a little bit smaller. And I think, if I'm not mistaken, these might be 3 O's. Oh, I have a lot of, must have gave Citadel all of their money. This is a 2O. So I can use a 2O. See the tip on the 2O? And then for that pupil, I'll use a 10O. So if that helps people out, 2O, 3O, and a 10O for the pupil. Let me put these guys back since I'm not painting those. All right. So let's see. Which one's going to be easier? Let's try this guy here. Let me see. I got to zoom in now. So we're going to zoom in a little bit. So stick with me. I'm hoping that this works. All right. So I want to zoom in. And I'm going to have to adjust the focus. Whoops. Oh, this thing is touchy. I got 30. Huh. Let's do autofocus. Will autofocus do it? All right. What if I go all the way up? I'm going to go all the way up. Hopefully I can stay in camera view. I don't want to do autofocus. Huh. I wish this would just... I don't understand why it's got to do... All right, we'll do autofocus because I can't get it to do what I want it to do. Hey, what happened? All right, apply. All right, let's see. All right, so we're nice and zoomed. Okay. This I will need my magnifiers for because I zoomed in for you guys, so I need to do the same for it. Hopefully I can keep this in camera view. All right, so we're going to take my little 2O brush and I want to darken that up a little bit. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use a little bit of brown. And I'm not using a lot of paint. Look at how much paint I put on there. It's just on the tip. There's no paint on there. But when I get it on here, you're going to see so we got that there. And then what's nice about the darkness of that eye is that I can go back in with my bright color again and I can fix just below the eye so it's not so dark. I think I can do it. Hold on. Go. All right. Now this is where the tip comes into play. A nice sharp tip, nice line brush. And get, again, I'm not using a lot of paint. I don't even know if it's gonna pick it up. See that white tip right there? That's as much paint as I need to put a dot on the inside of the eye. And I'm just gonna stab. You might need a couple passes at it. Again, not a lot of white on the brush. So there's one. And there's two. Let's see, is that going to show up on me? Come on, you can do it. You can do it. So there's trying to see if I can get it to show the eye. And then I can go back and fix around the eye once I get that done. It doesn't need to be this dark around the eye. So there we go. That's one. Hey, Pi, how's it going? So that's how you can do an eye with just two white dots. Now I will go and do another one doing the same thing, except I'm going to make a white line and then a dot. So let's see. Let's see if I can define this guy's eyes. Okay, try this off. All right. So again, not using a lot of paint. I'm just going to go in and darken up his eye where it should be dark. So there you go. I did that. Now I'm going to make a white line. And this is, again, not using a lot of paint. That might be too much paint, but I got a strong tip. Oh, he needs some angry eyebrows. Yeah, well, we're going to do that. Just give me a second here. Can't see. Seems to be a little bit of a hairbrush on here that doesn't want to work for me. It's all right. We'll clean that up in a second. But right there is sort of a line. See if I can get the other side to do what I want it to do. See if I can make sure I'm on camera. Oh, I waited too long. When you're dealing with this little paint, you can't wait too long. No. I tried to do the two dot method, didn't work. So let's go to my brown paint that I used, a dark color. And let's just touch this white up here. Again, fixing is one of the main things we need to know how to do if we're going to paint miniatures. We need to fix it. Okay. So we fixed one of them. Let's see if we can fix the other one. The problem is that the sculpt on this guy doesn't have two of the same eyes, so I have to kind of make it work. Ah, too much. Too much moisture on that brush. Trying to soak it up. All right, well, when in doubt, we paint it back brown, and we'll try it again. I have one good eye, so, and I already did the other one, but we'll try it once more. We'll try it once more. I just have to wait for it to dry. But then what I'll do is I'll put a little color in there, and I'll probably just use a black. But with this method, you can actually use a different color and it will be seen. Where over here, it's kind of hard to get a secondary color in there because it's so small. But you could probably do it. All right, that should be enough. So again, just a little bit of white on the tip of the brush, and we're going to try to get this one more line in. There's like this little brush that doesn't want to help me out, or one little bristle, I should say. Yeah, it doesn't like it. So let's get a different brush. See if this brush will work. I have to fix that. No. Yeah, see, it was that brush. I have to figure out where that bristle was coming from. All right, so now we have our zombie eyes. Right. And I'm just gonna fix up some of this flesh right here. And we'll get some on his nose. Kind of really sell that highlight on his face. There we go. Get a little bit on his upper lip. Down his cheeks. There we go. And here's that. Now, I could do it black, but let's give him, guess we'll give him blue eyes, because that'll show up on camera, I think. I could do him black, I could do him brown, I could do him blue. The point is, that's too much paint. Let's try it again. Make sure that you have a tip on your brush. It can't be fray. All right, that looks like a good amount. And now you just have to kind of stick it in there, but you have to be careful. And you want to kind of be towards the top, leaving a little bit of white on the bottom, although I didn't do it there. Oops. So there you go. I got one, but I didn't get the other. So now I'm going to have to go and fix that. But you can see how touch and go eyes are. Maybe he's got scarred vision. Yep. You could totally put an eye patch on him. And that can be one of our details to fix him. Giving him that unique flavor. So I'm just going to go in and put 2 dots in. And then I'll go in and it's a matter of, you just have to keep going. You have to keep fixing. So I'm just going to give him a little bit of darkness under this eye so he doesn't look so oops, sorry. So I gave him a little bit of darkness under his eye, and I'll go back with the flesh to fix out what I just did, which is right here. Get a little bit of scarring right there. And again, this is why we did the fixing. Oops, I'm sorry. This is why we did the fixing at the start of the lesson, is because these details are going to just be touch and go. But that's kind of how we did that. And if it looks like it's too dark, see on camera it looks way too dark under his eye. Up close it doesn't look that bad, but it may be a little too stark of a contrast. You can always go in and touch things up a little bit. So, but I'm using just little bits of paint. Little bits of paint. This might be a little too dark. So we'll just tidy up under there. And so there's eyes. So we're just doing it with the line. We're just doing it with 2 white dots either way. If you do the line and you mess up the eye, you can always go back to the 2 white dots to touch it up. And then you can always use the dark color. But notice I didn't use any washes. I didn't do any kind of highlighting or anything like that. I could use ivory to get not such a stark white in there. I could just do them black so that they show up more. But see, when I look at him in person, I can see his eyes and they don't look that bad. The problem is that you're looking at it zoomed in and you're looking at all the little imperfections that the model gives to me. All right, so I'm going to look at this guy really quick. And what I want to do is go back to my brown wash for just a moment. So I'll take this brush. Oops, sorry. And I'm going to wash the face, and I just want you to see something. I don't need my glasses on. Hold on. Okay. I'm just going to wash his face down a little bit. And now, I don't know if you can see that. You see where those eyes are? The face is pretty much kind of covered up, and there's a hat there. So you could technically do those eyes and definitely add some character. But when this is on the table, so normally people will be looking at it like this. That hat, that rim of that hat is going to cover up those eyes. And so therefore, this may be a time where you say, you know what? I'm not going to do the eyes. There's no point in me doing the eyes here. You can totally do it if you want to. But this might be a case where I say, I think if I just highlight and shade really well, I can kind of make the darker part of the face on the top where the nose is and say that the rim is just covering his eyes. So you don't always have to do eyes. If you feel like you're going to mess up on eyes, you don't have to do it. If I look at this guy here, you may want to try it. Maybe he has one eye closed, so he can do his shooting of the bow. So that way you can do one eye instead. You know, you can do this outer eye because it's much easier than trying to get into that other eye over here. So you may just want to do one eye open and do another eye closed. And that is the trick to eyes. That's the best I can do for beginners. You can see a whole bunch of videos on YouTube and they show you all the theories behind eyes. Remember, these are miniatures. These aren't grandiose models where people really work on those eyes. You know how they give them the iris and they give them the pupil and they give them the white dot and stuff. There are models out there that have huge eyes. The chibis, I think, have huge eyes that you can do that with. Beholder miniatures have huge eyes that you can do that with. But if you're dealing with just small, normal eyes, basically on a miniature of this scale, then you either can choose not to do eyes. I wouldn't do eyes on this guy. It's too small. Or if they're open and I'm able to do it, give it a shot. So we did one eye over here. I'll have to try to get into that other area with his shoulder pad being in the way. So we'll see what happens down that road. Maybe he's closing one eye to shoot his gun. I have no idea. So that is eyes. Okay. Now I want to go into spirit stones or gemstones because I think this also adds a little touch to your model. I don't have any real gemstones to do. There is one right here on his quiver. He also has one up on the helmet. And I did bring out an old 40K model that has a much clearer gemstone or spirit stone right here. But before I do these, I want to go over what I'm going to do because it's so hard to see with something so small. Yeah, this is a 10-0, by the way. So let's see if anybody knows what a 10-0 is. Where is it? No, this is a spotter. That's not my 10-0. Where's my 10-0? Oh, it is a 10-0. So there it is. See, 10-0. That's how small the bristle is. Look at the gemstone compared to the bristle. I'm actually touching the model with the bristle. Okay? So to get the technique for the gemstone, it's hard for you to see what I'm doing. So I'm going to show you on some shields. So I'm going to zoom out. But before I zoom out, I'll just show you what a done one looks like so that you understand what we're going to try to achieve. And so this figure here has a purple gemstone here and a purple gemstone up here. So this is kind of what we're trying to get at. And it's hard to see what this is, but what we want is a darkness up here and then this line of bright color down here. So that's what we're going to do. So what I'm going to do is zoom us back out just a little bit, not much. Configure the video. We don't need to be all the way up. That looks good. And then let's see if I can get this to be a little bit more in focus. Come on, do it. Oh my gosh. Why is my camera being such a poop today? This is supposed to be a nice camera. All right, we're gonna apply that. I'll just have to bring it up close to you guys so you can see what's going on when I'm doing it. But I have 6 shields here that we're gonna do the spirit stone with, and I figured instead of choosing colors, I'm gonna try to do as many of them as I can. So the theory behind this is you're going to have a circle, and then you're going to have a rim around that circle. Let me just bring this down, I think, and then come back up so you can see what I'm doing. So you have this circle, and there's going to be a color that's going to be, well, we want this color up here to be black. We want to eventually come to a black color. And then we want this right here to be our normal color we're looking for. And then down here, we want this just a little bit lighter. And then down here, we want the final white color. So what it's going to do is you have your final light color down here, and it's like a little smile. Oops, you have a smile. And then you're going to, but above that, you have a bigger smile of a little lighter color. And then above that, you have this other smile that's a little bit darker of your color. And eventually these smiles you're going to end up with a circle at the top of it where it's going to be black. And then we're going to put this little white dot in the black area. So this is all black. It's hard to show you with a pencil. Okay, but eventually, as we go up and down with the colors, we're going to get a nice little gemstone. So, first color we're going to do. So where's my okay. So we're going to do this. We're going to do red. Let's see, can I get in on this? All right. So I'm going to do some red here and just show you what I'm talking about. So the first thing I want to do is some red. And then I'm going to do some orange with that. And then we'll see where we go from there. So the first thing to do, so I'm going to show you the technique that I'm going to use. And that's how I do the miniature stuff. So I'll start here. And I take this red. Just thin it down a little bit. And I start and I figure where my smile's going to be. So let's say that this is where I want my dark spot. So I'm just going to paint like so. And the process is going to be the same. You just have to figure out what colors you want to use. So I found that using a red with some orange is a good color to start. And then you can fade down to yellow. Or you can just start using ivory to get your orange a little bit lighter. So I left the top circle black a little bit, but when you're doing it, it's really just a smile motion. This is all it is. I guess I'll just, hold on. I can always bring it up. All right, so then what I'm going to do is I'm going to mix in some orange and red. So we mix colors. When did we mix colors? I think we mixed colors second week, right? So this one's just going to be like a reddish orange. Again, we're going to thin it out just a little bit. And then I'm going to start again, but this time I want to keep some of that red. So maybe my smile is like this. And I'm just going to paint down. Don't think I left it. I probably didn't let it dry enough. All right. So we have that. I'm just going to go back over the red a little bit. Some orange over here again. It's kind of difficult to do it on a flat surface like this. But I wanted to kind of show you the different colors. For the blue, I just start out with a dark blue. I'll get a dark blue in a second, but usually what I do for the dark blue is I just keep adding some white after the dark blue. This might actually be fine now. Now I could do the whole thing blue and then paint a black circle on it to get it to be a little bit more cohesive with the blue. But I think I'm going to just keep it that way for right now. So see, this is the general motion. It's just a smile. And while this is drying, I'm going to mix up some light blue here. So you really get to see how this goes. So I'm just waiting for these things to dry. So I'm going to get in with the orange. So what I did is I took the red, mixed a little bit of orange in the red, Now just take whatever that orange was, and I'm going to do another smile. But this time it's going to be a smaller smile. Still too wet. It's pulling off the shield. But I'll actually paint a gemstone so you can see how this is supposed to be applied. Apologize for this, folks. My shield idea didn't work. I never tested it. Let's see if I can do this. I'm going to stipple it on and see if that works. No, stippling doesn't work either. But you can start seeing some of the gradient that's coming through when I do this. And eventually I'll get yellow on there, but I gotta wait for this to dry. See, that doesn't. Okay. So I'll do purple. I'll do purple a little differently so you can see it. I might as well do the green too, right? It's more or less the same thing over and over. So I'll do the green, I'll do the whole thing in green, the whole shield, and I'll do the whole purple shield as well. So because I've done the whole green shield, I'll have to put a black circle on there. Hey, Acid Burn Punk, how goes it today? So I'm just going to mix a little black with a little purple, get a nice black, dark purple base. And get a nice dark purple on here. So this is all going to be the gemstones. But you need to see the theory that I'm doing because it's going to be so hard for you to see when I'm actually doing the gemstones. All right, so I think the blue is a little bit dry, or I should say is dry. So I'm going to take some lighter blue and make a smile again, but this time it's a smaller smile. So maybe it's like this. And remember, this is just layering. So last week we said we can always soften our layers down just by washing, using a wash or using a glaze. So let's see. There we go. Yeah, I can do this. Doesn't seem to want to be working very well. All right. Now I have to get a yellow. What are we doing on time? Oh, we got a few minutes left. So I'll do some yellow. So well, I don't want to do that just yet. I gotta wait till it dries. So I'm waiting for the purple to dry. So what I could do is take this gray, a little bit of darkness, and I can do a dark gray gemstone, which is an onyx gemstone. So again, I could do the gray. And then the other one is a tiger's eye, which is kind of cool. And for the tiger's eye, let's see. Tiger's eye, I start using brown. So for my tiger's eye, I'll just do this brown. So I'm using these as shields, but this is how I do most of my gemstones, is like I just do these little smiles down as much as I can. I'll add a little bit of white to this blue here, and I'll start making another smile right here. There's my third color. Now I'll just kind of fix this ridge here so that my colors don't go over the ridge. Because this is my metallic rim that you'll end up painting around the stone, maybe. Or excuse me, around, yeah, the stone. That's right. Okay, these other colors are not dry, as you can tell, as they shine. So I can't do anything with those yet. So here's the trick to doing this, is that depending on where you put the black circle, depending on where you put the white dot in the black circle, so like if I put the dot over here in the black circle, or I put the dot over here in the black circle, dictates where the final color of your gemstone goes. So if I decide that that's where I want the white dot on the blue gem, then I'm just going to do a line opposite that. So I'll do a line of light blue, like right here. And if I want to do a lighter orange or a yellow, oh, no, that's right, that's my yellow. Then because my white dot is here, my yellow line is going to be over here. Because you want it to be opposite. I don't know if that makes any sense. Can I bring this out more? Will that help you see? So I could do it a little bit more here. So these are how I'm going to do the gemstones. Now, with the purple, I may do this. I'm just trying to make sure that I don't pull any purple color out. So there we go. That's what that one would look like. And then the green. I usually add yellow to my green. I need more yellow. And we got 141. There. So here's my yellowish green that I'll just kind of start with. Maybe I go like this. Okay. So there's my two greens. I'll add nothing to. So with the tiger's eye, because I started brown, I'm going to add a little bit of yellow to that. And I'll do the same thing as I did before. I have the brown. I'm adding a little bit of yellow. That might actually be too much yellow. Let me add a little bit more brown to this yellow mixture. Yeah, there we go. So you kind of want to have so we're going to pretend that I did that medium brown early on. Oops. See. Oh, sorry about that. Hold on, let me see if I can get this better in focus. Configure the video. Let's get this a better focus. All right, we'll just autofocus it. We'll let it do its thing. Okay. So then I'm going to take more yellow, mix it to my green. So for gemstones, you want 3 colors, and then you're fine. So you're kind of mixing, but then that final color you want as your highlight color. So I'm going to I got more green, or excuse me, more yellow in this green mixture, and I'm just doing a smaller smile. Okay, so there's that. I'm going to take some white and this purple, mix it together to get a nice light lavender. That might be too much purple or too much white. Yeah. And I'm just going to do another small smile. You're just trying not to get rid of the other color that you put in there. And these are pretty huge gemstones because I'm using shields to do it. So you're not going to see all these layers when you're doing yours. All right. Okay, so what I've done is the purple. I've done complete purple on and green on here. So what I'm going to do is go to my black and do a little circle on my black. Maybe it's right there. Purple. Maybe I want it right there. So there's my circles. Notice that I painted on the circles. Normally you would just put a dot there. And I'll do the same thing with the tiger's eye. This looks like a good spot for the tiger's eye. And then again, it's wherever you place the dot, you put the highlight color opposite the dot. The light area opposite the white dot, I mean. So is that the highlight, or would you say that that's the backlight refracted through the stone? Yeah, it for the gem, yeah, it's the backlight. But when you're painting, we call it the highlight. I'm just highlighting what I'm painting, but yeah, it would be the backlight. So if I do, well, I hit the white first. So yes, it would be the backlight. So this white dot would be where the light is hitting it. Right there, and then the backlight is that final highlight that's back here. So if I decide I want my white dot, no, they're still not dry. Let me add some white to this gray mixture. Might be too much. And it doesn't matter how big your smile is or how small your smile is. You just have to get the right kind of blends in there. So this might be too dark of a gray, but or excuse me, too light of a gray. I may have to go darker with this gray. And I'm just using a big brush. I'm just showing you what I would be doing on a miniature. A lot of these color things that you're seeing would be hidden. There we go. All right, so I think we have enough dry time to get some white on here. So I'll take the white, and all you're going to do is just dot 1, 2, 3. You would just dot them on your miniature, but I'm going to exaggerate where the dots would be. If it's a big enough gem, you might be able to get 2 dots. If you wanted to. And then all I would do is do my final highlight color. So here's where this dot is. So maybe my final highlight color, which is the backlight, would be right there. Or maybe, let's see, is this my light gray, purple? Okay. Maybe this is where my light purple lands. And then with my tiger's eye, my yellow would probably just land right here. So there you go. There's 5 gemstones, and I'm waiting for the gray to dry, but that's how I would do gemstones on a miniature. So now that you saw those, let's go put it into practice. I'll keep those there. So let's bring in the zoom. Oh yeah, we can let it autofocus. I don't care. Okay. So the first thing that you're going to do is paint the whole area black like I did with the shields. Is this going to autofocus, or is it going to be a pain in my tuchus? Let's get this to where it was before with the eyes. Let's get this here. Why is that not focusing the way it needs to focus? Okay. Apply. I'll try to get it to stay in focus for you. Oops. But there's my gems. So let's just do red. I'm feeling red because we have some other stuff I want to do, and I want to make sure we get there. We're already at 2 hours. So I'm going to just take my red like I did before. So if you look, If you look, not much paint on the brush. And I'm going to just do a smile. Now you can paint the whole thing red and paint the black dot after, but I usually just do smiles. So there's my smile. I'm having trouble seeing if it's focused. Hopefully you can see a smile. And then I'm just going to do exactly what I did before. I'm going to take the red and the orange together. And I'm just going to paint another smile, just little, covering up the gem. And then I'll take the orange. There's a little bit of paint here because it's a small area, so it'll dry quicker. And I do another smile. Oops. I have to get some orange again. Hold on. Just had to fix something, that's all. Okay. I'm gonna get autofocus back on. Hold on. A sec, guys. We might go over time. Hold on. You were supposed to be a good camera for me. We're not. Okay. There we go. All right. And then we'll take some orange. Some pure orange. Making sure we have a nice tip. And just doing a smile underneath. Okay. Take some black and get my rim nice and black again. So hopefully this is showing off the colors. So my final color is going to be yellow, which I need to get more of. So my final color is going to be yellow, but I need to know where I want the light to come from. So I think what I'm going to do, where's all my white? I must have mixed it all together. Okay. So I take, focus in on for me, please. Focus in, focus in. Okay. So you can see my colors there. So now I'm just going to just touch the black with the white. That might have been too much. But you can always go back with black if it doesn't look right. but I think it looks fine from this angle. And so because that's where I put the white dot, the back of it gets this yellow. So I'll just put this yellow right here. I wish it would focus in more. There we go. Maybe I just have to hold it close. So there's the gem. Oh, it doesn't like the primer gray? Probably. And so that's how you do the gemstones. I could make that white dot a little bit smaller. I'd probably go in there with the black, just fix that up a bit. Or yeah, I don't think I would do it with the red because you want the white to be in the black. Okay, but from a distance, it'll do the trick. Okay. All right. So some other things you can do if this guy looks good. I'm going to zoom out just a little bit. Now that I'm not doing really fine detail. There we go. Done. And that didn't do anything, did it? Oh yeah, it did. Yeah, it did. Okay. So let's say oh, thank you so much, Pi. Yeah, I mean, like I said, when you're doing things up close, when you're doing things large, it takes a lot more skill as far as or techniques rather, as far as glazing and getting everything correct. But as you move out, a lot of that detail gets lost because everything gets so constrained. So thank you very much for that compliment. So sometimes you'll have a piece of miniature that's just blank. Like, it looks great, they did a great job painting it, but it needs something else. So one thing that you could probably do, it's pretty basic, since I did blue trim all over the model here, maybe I want to take some of that blue and with a very controlled edge highlight, you can make sure you have a point. You can actually create a line, a trim around the tunic. And now it's not so plain. And you can do it as fat as you want or as thin as you want. But now it's not a very plain tunic. Maybe there's a design you want to do. I'll just do an easy design here. Just do triangles. So you make this zigzag. right? And then I can go ahead and I can just paint in that zigzag. Now, the problem is that some people will not feel confident to make a bold choice like this. I don't need, there we go. Now I can see better. They won't make a bold choice like this. They're like, oh, I don't want to ruin the miniature. Oh, I don't want to do that. But look at how that just kind of pulls together. It makes that plain surface look different. Just that small little easy touch. So you can do something that looks like that. It doesn't have to be anything fantastic. Or no, I don't want to say fantastic. It doesn't have to be anything intricate is the word I'm looking for. It can just be a line at the bottom, or it can be some zigzags. Now, sometimes you have things already on the model, like these little plates here, but there's nothing up here on the leather tunic. So maybe, I don't know, maybe you want to put a star. Maybe you want to put a rune of some sort. You can do it. So it's just little things like that that makes a unique model. So we could do gemstone here. We could do a purple or a blue gemstone here. We could do something right here on the chest, gemstone. But just by that line there, or by that zigzag, changes the way the model looks. All right. One other thing I want to show you is, let's say I want to really make the silver pop. So what I can do is I can actually take a black paint, and if you do it thin enough, you can actually, and you got to be controlled, but again, this is where the edge highlighting happens, except I'm not edge highlighting, I'm going underneath. And I can actually make a dark line underneath this tunic and make it a separator. So now if you look at it, see what that separator does? It takes it and it makes the tunic pop more from the blue that I just had there. And I can do it down here as well. Maybe you don't want black down here, maybe you want dark gray, but I can always use a black as my separator. And so it makes it, just separates it out. So I could do it over here. Underneath this little shoulder pad, because maybe you have two colors that are very similar looking and you need to have some sort of change in the intensity. So maybe silver and white look too close together, so now you can separate it out. So black can be a separated color. You can use dark gray. Yeah, so if I wanted to do something here on the bow, I could do these black and figure out what color I wanted to do them afterward. So we'll just do I'll just do one of these black. Do around his hand. And what this will do is not only separate the metal from the bow, but it also makes his hand pop more. Because now when you paint that, you'll have that black line There. Do you have to do black line everywhere? No. No, not at all. But it does separate colors. And sometimes you'll have like a dark brown tunic and you want a belt that's a little bit lighter color. Well, if you can just separate those two browns with that black line, or sometimes people just paint the belt black and then they'll go over with a lighter leather color, it really makes the two browns look different and it does separate them out. But these are things that you can do to kind of make your model look unique, make it look clean. Here's our skeleton. He's now been completely overhauled. I can go back and I can dry brush over him if I want to. I can also do highlight colors. I can take my ivory. I don't think I have my ivory. Let's see. Maybe I can do it. But like I said, maybe it was a stone color I didn't like, and so I'll go in and I'll just paint over the ribs. So I paint there. Again, this is just that. This is just that hard edge highlighting technique. But I'm just getting in there. And then I can do that as well. Oh, so here's our other guy. Notice that there's no more pink on him. Now he's a fresh start. I can do whatever I want with him. I can put green on him if I want to make him green, and so forth. Yes, it does add 3 dimensions. That is absolutely correct, and thank you. I just had him. What did I do with him? Oh, here he is. Right in front of me. He would have bit me. Yep. So that it just kind of separates everything out. So that's kind of things that you can do. And those unique things are what's going to stand out. Let's see. Like, for example, this is a miniature that I did on stream. This is the mimic. And the thing that stands out is the tongue. You know, and this is not anything that I've done. You know, it's just I needed something on the tongue, and I noticed that he had like this little texture on the tongue. So I said, "Oh, well, let me go ahead and just dot each thing like dark, dark, and then when I got to the dark purple, do the lighter of the two purples, and then this hasn't been sealed, but what I did is I took a gloss over the tongue to make it look slimy." So these are the little things that you can do just to make your miniature stand out a little bit more for that. It gives it character. I want to go back to what someone said of I can give this guy an eye patch right there. So what I would do is I would take, even though he doesn't have an eye patch on, I could take a black and just paint in the eye socket. Like so. And then with a very controlled line, let's see, how would this go? I guess it would go something like this, right? And then it would go behind his ear. And so now he wasn't molded with an eye patch, but I gave him one. Well, they don't talk about them, but they do them. So you have to kind of notice when they do them. But right, nobody talks about them. So it's nice to know that you have control over your model. And if you goof up an eye and you don't know how to fix it, there you go. Give it an eye patch, and he's ready to go. Just take your time. Somebody wanted to give angry eyebrows. Let's see, angry eyebrows would be a brown color. So the point is you don't want a lot of paint on the brush because you're not really doing a lot of painting here. You're just touching the model. So I've never done eyebrows, so I don't know. I don't know, did that work? I don't know if that worked. I think I gave him 2. He has a big bushy eyebrow. Well, that's what I do here. I try to so these things here, I don't have control. Like I'm not there with you watching you paint things and giving you tips in person. So I have to try to cover everything that I can. And there's a lot more stuff out there. There's a lot more painting tricks out there. But as far as beginners go, just little things like this can take you that's much closer, and then you can start learning how to do like the glazing techniques and the wet blending techniques and all kinds of other things that you see on the stream. But they're still using the color blocking techniques. They're still using the edge highlighting or the dry brushing for highlighting. So these are beginning techniques because they're the basic ones, and then how you use them makes you more advanced in what your skill is. You could paint right out of the bottle, or you can thin your paints and do 3 or 4 different thin layers and build things up. So but I just, those people that don't never picked up a brush or are just starting out, they need to master the basics before they can get into the more advanced stuff. Because really, when you're doing the glazing, you just have to know how thin the paint needs to be, and you need color blocking, or you need to know kind of like it's hard to explain, but you're using these basic techniques in a different way. So what you don't want to do is cover up detail on the model. That's got to be the biggest tip for beginners, is don't cover up detail on a model. You don't have to paint it, just don't cover it up, because later down the road you may want to touch something up, or you may want to add something to that particular area. Okay. Does anybody have any questions on this? I know we're over time, but we started a little bit late because I couldn't get my sound working and I couldn't do all this stuff, but I actually got through everything I wanted to get through. So does anybody have any questions before I close out the night? I'd be more than happy to answer any questions that people may have. I'm going to take this off. And let me get back to this screen here. Okay. Let me do something really quick. I'll be right back. Don't go anywhere. I have to pick something up off the floor. All right. Well, if nobody has any other questions, then allow me to graduate you from your mini painting class. Ladies and gentlemen, you now have the skills to go and create something fantastic. Go out there and paint some miniatures on my Discord, !Discord, in the class of gmp104. I've given 3 ways or 3 sets of paints if you're looking to buy some paints. They're a set of 10. So if you have a color scheme in mind, there's one for you. If you have no idea what you want to do, there's one for you as well. Go forth, my friends, and show the world that you can paint miniatures too. Does anybody have any questions before I sign you off and let you loose into the world of the miniature fray of painting? Hey, Stoppy, how are you? Do you like choose light or dark primer, and depending on where you want to color your model? I tend to use primer. Oh, hold on. That got a little too loud for a minute there. So for me, I use primer in different ways. If I want a darker model, if I want to hide and really control the color of the model, I'll use black. If I want a truer color, I'll use gray. And if I really want to brighten up the tones, if I'm using really light colors and bright colors for heroes, I'll use white. But I think for beginners, I think you're better off with the black and using different colors to get your highlight colors, because it will also hide some of the, it'll create that 3-dimensional impact, like I was saying with the black lining. Say con or pecan. Forbid peeking. God forbid peeking. All right. Well, everybody, congratulations. You've made it through 4 weeks of a grueling miniature painting thing, but I hope that you all learned something. I hope you all practice. Use my Discord and go, if you want me to look at something or you want to show off your work, use the classes channels to do it, use the work in progress to do it. And if you want me to look at something and critique it and tell you how you can do something better, or how I can see how your progression is going so I can compliment you, you can always send me a DM on my Discord and I will be more than happy to help you out. But I look forward to seeing everybody's creations. You can follow me on Instagram. You can go right down below and click on Instagram. You can follow me there and show me your work, and I will be here. I just want to say tomorrow I will be streaming. Tomorrow is, let me turn this off. You've already graduated. We'll move the tassels to the other side, right? We move the test to the other side. Actually, let's just throw it away. No, I can't throw it in here. I will be streaming tomorrow. It's a new project tomorrow. I'm not sure what I'm doing. It's either going to be Eldar or it's going to be Black Templars. We'll see which way I go. But to say thank you to everybody for getting me to affiliate this month. I am doing giveaways all night long tomorrow. 10 p.m. Eastern, 7 p.m. Pacific. I'm not sure where it is anywhere else in the world, but all you need to do is click that little heart to follow. All followers can enter. All subscribers get an additional entry, and it's just stuff I got out of my personal stock. It's, you know, pretty much box miniature sets. You know, not great big box miniature sets, just little ones that has like 16 or 10 models in it, so that if you want to endeavor into your miniature painting world, you may do so. And the only thing I ask is that you're in the channel when the winner is called, so that you can say, yes, I'm here and I want it, or yes, I'm here and I will defer it. So, are you going to do a coat of arms for your mini painting university program? I was thinking about it, but I don't know. We'll see. I have to come up. I haven't even came up with emotes or you know, a little tag. So, coat of arms might be asking a little too much at this stage. But no, seriously, if you guys enjoyed the classes, the 4 classes, and you want to continue, I could do a little bit more. I could do another 4 weeks of like intermediate stuff. Or I'm also thinking that because I have triples and quadruples of models, I might just put together little packs of beginning painting kits. And then, you know, if you think that somebody could benefit from these classes, then I can send out kits so that you guys are painting along. That's what these were intended to do. They were supposed to be paint alongs so you could paint with me, but I think a lot of people are using them as VODs and then painting afterward, or maybe you're just watching. But yeah, so because it is a class and it is a paint along tutorial, there is no raid tonight. There will be I will be raiding tomorrow, and I will accept raids tomorrow, but tonight is just all about the class and all about you. So please go forth to your favorite people, favorite streamers. I'm sure they're on. And now you'll be able to understand. Wait, do you have a YouTube for these VODs, or available? So I download them onto my computer. I can get them on YouTube, but I haven't. So I will see if I can get them up somewhere and put them in the Discord, if that is better. But currently they're not on YouTube. Yeah, so I think I only have it set up to have the last 2 streams up there. So up until tomorrow, last week and today will be up there. I have downloaded the other 2, so I'll probably end up downloading these 2, so I have all 4 of them. But I will get them. I will post them somewhere, and then I'll put a link in the Discord if you're. Oh, for a week? I thought there were the last 2. Maybe I'm wrong on that. But rest assured, I do have all of them. So I will make sure that you see those. Yeah, the first one was all about dry brushing. All we did was dry brush everything. We did like a little dire badger, a wolf. Here, wait, I can do this. Whoops. Yo, there we go. We did this guy. This is all dry brush. So that's what we did on the first week. I just put them in a Dropbox and then post the download link in Discord. Discord is this. There you go. Thanks, Talon. I was yeah, I'll have to look into getting Dropbox. I gotta find out where I can get Dropbox. Usually, I just put them on my Drive, Google Drive, and then just share that out. But so yeah, and then thank you so much. So yeah, come join in tomorrow night for the fun and the festivities. Hope you get a chance to win some miniatures, and have a good old time. And I'm gonna try to get some kind of project to start working on. I gotta start working on some 40K stuff. Yeah, so I have to figure out. So my Friday streams are just taking a model from beginning to end, depending on how to do it. But sometimes I'm thinking I might want to just work on stuff that I need to finish for myself. But we'll see. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for joining. Thank you for learning. And I hope that this has been super helpful for you. And you'll catch me around Twitch. I'll either be lurking or you can catch me tomorrow night on my stream. Now, go check out other streamers and you'll know exactly what they're doing. You can say, hey, I know what he's doing. He's color blocking. Hey, that looks like an edge highlight. So, hey, you know what you can put on there? You can put on a patch over his eye. All right, ladies and gentlemen, have a good night. And we'll talk to you soon. And I will put this on just for you.